10 R&B groups who stood on stages all over the world and sang about love, about devotion, about forever. But behind the harmonies, behind the choreography, behind every smile for the camera, some of these people couldn't be in the same room without it turning ugly. I'm talking lawsuits, fistfights, members finding out they were fired by watching their own music video, and one founding member who went from selling millions of records to living in her car.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. 'Cause it's
These aren't rumors. These are the stories the industry never wanted you to hear. Let's get into it.
But he doesn't realize he hurts us so much.
Number 10, Toni.
If the rhythm feels good to you, baby, let me hear you say. If the rhythm
Here's what makes this one cut different. This wasn't strangers falling out over business. This was family.
feels good to you, baby, let me take you away. Moments that
2 brothers and their cousin from Oakland, California. Dwayne Wiggins, Raphael Saadiq, and Timothy Christian Riley. They grew up together, made music together before any label ever knew their name. And when they finally broke through, they gave us some of the smoothest, most soulful R&B of the late 80s and early 90s. It Never Rains in Southern California. Feels good if I had no loot. Hit after hit. Platinum album after platinum album. This wasn't some one-hit group. They were running the game. But behind the music, and this is where it gets painful, money was tearing the family apart. See, when royalties and publishing start moving through a family, it changes the conversation at Thanksgiving. And apparently there were real disagreements about who was getting what and who was contributing what. Raphael Saadiq. And that's a stage name, by the way. His real name is Charles Ray Wiggins, Dwayne's younger brother. Raphael started pulling away. He wanted more creative control. He wanted to write and produce beyond the group. And you can understand that. The man is a genius. He'd go on to produce for D'Angelo, Erykah Badu, John Legend. But here's the thing about leaving your brother's group. You don't just leave a band, you leave the dinner table. And after their 4th and final album together, Raphael walked. He formed Lucy Pearl with Dawn Robinson from En Vogue. And yeah, we're getting to En Vogue later. And he never came back. Not really.
Feels real good to y'all out there. Y'all remember that funk from the old days?
The Wiggins brothers haven't made music together since. And if you've ever had a falling out with someone you share blood with, you know that silence hits different than any breakup song they ever recorded. Number 9, Xscape.
Every man wants a woman where him and her can just go.
4 women from Atlanta, Kandi Burruss, Tamika Tiny Cottle, and sisters LaTocha and Tamika Scott. Jermaine Dupri signed them to his So-So Def label in the early 90s, and his whole idea was to present them like the female version of Jodeci. And honestly, it worked. 3 platinum albums, just kicking it in 1993. Who Can I Run To in 95. Understanding. If you were anywhere near a radio in the mid-90s, you heard Xscape. Their harmonies were layered, their energy was raw, and every single member could sing. But here's what was happening behind the scenes. LaTocha Scott wanted out. She wanted a solo career, and by the time they were recording their 3rd album, Traces of My Lipstick in 1998, everybody in that studio knew it was over.
Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Oh, baby. Down to the next.
Kandi Burruss said it herself. We never had a flop album. We couldn't get along. And you know what stings about that? It wasn't failure that killed Xscape. It was success. The bigger they got, the more obvious it became that not everybody wanted the same thing. LaTocha felt she was the voice of the group. And when one person in a group starts feeling like they carry the weight, that's when resentment takes root. Now here's the twist. After the split, it was Kandi, not LaTocha, who went on to become one of the most successful songwriters in the industry.
Every man wants a woman.
She co-wrote No Scrubs for TLC. She penned hits for Destiny's Child. She won a Grammy, and she eventually became a reality television star on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Tiny married T.I. and built her own empire. In LaTocha's solo career, it never reached the heights she imagined. Sometimes the person who wants it the most isn't the one who gets it. Real talk. Only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, SWV.
I don't know what it is that
Now, the name alone should tell you something. Sisters. That was supposed to mean something.
when the calling cure is you.
Coko, Taj, and Lily came together in New York in the early 90s, and their debut album, It's About Time, dropped in 1992 and went triple platinum.
After time I try to fight it.
Weak. Right here. I'm So Into You. These weren't just hits. If you slow dance to any of those songs, you remember exactly who you were dancing with. But by 1997, any sense of sisterhood between these three was gone. And Coko didn't sugarcoat it. She told MTV straight up, it was either we were going to get it together or we weren't. And we couldn't get it together, so we had to go. And here's what people didn't know at the time. Coko already had a solo deal in the works before the official breakup was even announced. That's the kind of move that breaks trust in a group.
Told me to act in such a crazy way.
Because when one person has a parachute and the other two don't, the landing feels very different. Taj and Lily felt blindsided. They felt like the group's problems weren't being worked on. They were being used as an exit ramp. And that hurt went deep. These women went years without speaking. Years. The kind of silence where you see someone's name on your phone and you don't pick up. Not because you're busy, because you're not ready. They've reunited and split again multiple times since then, and every time they come back, fans hope it'll stick. But if you've ever tried to rebuild something after the trust is already cracked, you know it never feels the same.
I try hard to find it.
The music might still be there, but the sisterhood, that takes more than harmony to fix.
I get so
Number 7, Dru Hill. Stay with me on this one, because this story has a moment in it that you almost wouldn't believe if it wasn't caught on camera.
The way you wiggle it, the way you move your body, he can make it get wetter than me.
Dru Hill came out of Baltimore in the mid-90s. Cisco, Nokio, Jazz, and Woody, 4 friends from the neighborhood around Druid Hill Park. That's where the name comes from. They got discovered performing at a music industry convention, and their debut single, Tell Me, replaced Blackstreet's Dave Hollister on the movie soundtrack for Eddie because they sounded that good. By 1998, they had In My Bed, Never Make a Promise, How Deep Is Your Love, all charting, all platinum. Then came the Will Smith movie, Wild Wild West. They were asked to be on the soundtrack, but here's where the tension starts. From what the group has said, the session was supposed to be Will Smith featuring Dru Hill. But when they got there, it felt like it was Will Smith featuring Cisco. The other 3 were just there. And for Woody, that was the last straw. He'd been frustrated for a while, feeling overshadowed, feeling like the group was really becoming Cisco and Friends, so he quit, right in the middle of filming the music video. But here's where it gets wild. Years later, in 2008, the original 4 reunited. They went on Baltimore Radio 92Q to announce the comeback. Live on the air. Fans were excited. And then Woody, sitting right there in the studio, announced he was leaving again. He said God had called him to do gospel music. Cisco stormed out of the station, jumped in a Range Rover, and someone was yelling at him that he wasn't even supposed to be driving. Nokio had to be held back by 3 people from swinging on Woody. The whole thing was captured on video. It went viral before viral was even a word. And you know what Cisco said about it later? He laughed. He said, "There's been a lot of those fights we haven't filmed." He even said Nokio once pulled a knife on him when they were 16 over a girl. That's Dru Hill family, but the kind of family where somebody's always about to flip a table.
The way you wiggle it, the way you move your body, he can make it get wetter than me.
Number 6, Jodeci.
Lately I have the strangest feeling.
And this one might be the saddest story on this whole list, because what happened to Jodeci wasn't just a group falling apart. It was watching 4 young men with all the talent in the world slowly lose themselves. Two sets of brothers from Charlotte, North Carolina, K-Si and JoJo Haley, Devontae Swing and Mr. Dalvin DeGreat. All 4 of them grew up in the church, gospel families. Casey's father was a gospel singer. Devontae's father was a Pentecostal minister who had his own show on CBN.
Just the other night while you were asleep.
People in the gospel circuit used to call young Cedric Haley the Michael Jackson of gospel. In 1989, they piled into a Ford Escort, drove 12 hours from North Carolina to New York with 29 songs on 3 demo tapes and $300 in their pockets. They showed up at Uptown Records with no appointment. Almost got turned away, but rapper Heavy D overheard their tape, talked Andre Harrell into hearing them sing live, and that was it. Jodeci was born. Forever My Lady, 1991. Come and Talk to Me. Stay. 3 consecutive #1 R&B singles. Over 3 million copies sold. But you know what the industry does to 4 church boys from North Carolina? It eats them alive. The wild lifestyle caught up. K-Si's relationship with Mary J. Blige, she later called it the Ike and Tina of the 90s on the low. Devontae started disappearing. Substance issues crept in. There were arrests, gun charges, erratic performances. K-Si and JoJo branched off as a duo in 97 and blew up with All My Life. But here's the part that still gets me. JoJo told Two Sister magazine, "Knowing what I know now, I don't think I would have been in Jodeci." Think about that. One of the greatest R&B groups ever assembled, and one of the lead singers said he wishes he never joined. Today, KC and JoJo don't even follow each other on Instagram. Devontae rarely appears in public. And the last time Jodeci tried to do a show together in San Jose, only 2 out of 4 members showed up. 4 boys who left home together in a Ford Escort and ended up strangers. Number 5, In Vogue.
What's it gonna be? 'Cause I can't pretend.
4 women, Terry Ellis, Cindy Herron, Maxine Jones, and Dawn Robinson, assembled in Oakland, California in 1989 after nearly 3,000 women auditioned. Producers Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy wanted 3 members, but when Terry Ellis showed up late, her plane was delayed from Houston, and they heard all 4 voices blend together. They changed the plan, and thank God they did. Hold On went to #1 in 1990. My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It. Free Your Mind, giving him something he can feel. En Vogue wasn't just a girl group. They were 4 lead singers in one group. Every member could carry a song by herself. That had never been done before, but But here's what nobody was talking about while the hits were climbing the charts. These women were making 2 cents per record. 2 cents. Dawn Robinson said MC Hammer, of all people, found out what they were getting paid and couldn't believe it. He actually paid for them to spend a day with his attorney to review their contracts. That's how bad it was. And when Dawn tried to fight for better compensation, not just for herself, for the whole group, she felt like the others didn't have her back. She left in 1997, right before their 3rd album, and the narrative that went out to the press, that Dawn was being a diva, that she was difficult. She's joined and left that group multiple times since 2005, 2009, 2011. Every time it falls apart over money or management or trust. And then in March 2025, Dawn Robinson posted a video on YouTube and said something that broke a lot of hearts. She'd been living in her car for almost 3 years. A founding member of one of the best-selling girl groups in history. The woman who sang lead on Don't Let Go, Love, their biggest hit ever, living in her vehicle. And And just months later, in November the 2025, another member, Rona Bennett, left the group over fallout from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony. On Vogue is still splitting apart. Still, over 35 years later, you know what's worse than a group that hates each other? A group that can't figure out how to love each other, right? Number 4, TLC. T-Boz, Left Eye, Chili. The best-selling American girl group of all time. Over 60 million records sold worldwide. Waterfalls, No Scrubs, Creep, Unpretty, Crazy. Sexy Cool went diamond.
Precious as a natural obsession for temptation.
If you grew up in the 90s, these 3 women were unavoidable. But the problems between them were just as big as the music. Start with the contracts. TLC sold tens of millions of records and still had to file for bankruptcy. Their production deal was structured so that money passed through so many hands before reaching them that the group barely saw any of it. Imagine being the biggest girl group on the planet and not being able to pay your rent. Then there was Left Eye. Lisa Lopes was the energy, the fire, literally. In 1994, after a violent argument with her boyfriend, Atlanta Falcons player Andre Rison, she set a pair of his shoes on fire in a bathtub, except the new tub was plexiglass. Flammable, and the entire $2 million mansion burned to the ground. Left Eye turned herself in and got 5 years probation and a $10,000 fine. But here's what people didn't see. By the time Fan Mail came out in 1999, Left Eye felt suffocated. She wrote a significant amount of the group's music. She designed the set for the Fan Mail tour, and yet she was still reduced to the rapper in the press. Her verse on No Scrubs, cut from the album version, so she went public. In Entertainment Weekly, she said she couldn't stand behind the TLC project.
Makes his money the best way he knows how.
T-Boz and Chili fired back saying, Left Eye doesn't respect the whole group and was only concerned with Left Eye. Then Left Eye did something nobody expected. She issued what she called the challenge, a public dare for all 3 of them to release solo albums and let the fans decide who the real star was. They eventually made peace. T-Boz says they were in a good place again when Left Eye came to visit her in the hospital during a sickle cell crisis. Left Eye told her to take all the time she needed, and then Left Eye went to Honduras. And on April 25th, 2002, she was killed in a car accident. She was 30 years old. T-Boz said later that it hit like a brick, and Chili had to deliver the news over the phone. They made peace, but they almost didn't get the chance. Number 3, New Edition. If you want to understand every R&B group feud that's ever happened, you start here. Because New Edition didn't just experience beef, they wrote the playbook for it. This girl is one of a kind. 5 kids from the Orchard Park Projects in Roxbury, Boston. Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant, Michael Bivins, Ricky Bell, and Ronnie DeVoe. They formed in 1978 when they were still children. Candy Girl dropped in 1983. Cool It Now. Mr. Telephone Man. They were the blueprint for every boy band that came after them. But here's the thing. Bobby Brown was always different, louder, wilder. He'd extend his solo moments during songs. He'd go off script on stage, and as the group got bigger, so did his behavior. Drug use crept in. Fights with the other members became routine. It all came to a head in 1985 at a concert in Oakland, California. Bobby and Michael Bivins got into a fist fight on stage in front of the audience.
You can't mess with her mind. She feels the same, she'll let you know. Just prepare yourself for beat.
And after the show, their manager told the group they had to make a choice, so they voted. And Bobby Brown, one of the founding members of New Edition, was voted out of the group he helped create. He was a teenager. Michael Bivins said years later, "It was kind of wrong for us to do it. We were listening to the managers. We left him behind mentally." But by then, it was too late. Bobby went solo, blew up with My Prerogative and Every Little Step.
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. If I love the girl, who cares who you like?
Johnny Gill replaced him. And then Ralph Tresvant started eyeing a solo career too. Then Ricky Bell, Bivins, and DeVoe formed Bell Biv DeVoe.
Listen to me, let me tell you why you all coming down on me, trying to tell me how my life.
The group that was supposed to be unbreakable shattered into 5 separate pieces. But wait, in 1996, and all 6 members, including Bobby, came back together for the album Home Again. It went to number 1. Fans were ecstatic. And then the tour happened, and it was a disaster. Bobby showed up to maybe 2 rehearsals. He didn't know the routines. The other members had to restructure the entire show around his lack of preparation. And then Bobby couldn't finish the first show. He needed oxygen backstage. Michael Bivins called it the worst tour ever. And Bobby and Bivins ended up quitting mid-tour. Just like that.
About this time I'm gonna make it on my own. So why don't you fellas just leave me alone?
The big reunion was dead. Years later, Bobby even cropped Ralph Tresvant out of a group photo on social media. And then Johnny Gill and Ralph revealed that they owned the New Edition trademark, which started a whole new round of legal posturing with the other 4. 40 years, 6 members, and they're still figuring out how to be in the same room. Number 2, Destiny's Child.
Question, tell me what you think about me. I buy my own diamonds and I buy my own rings.
And if you thought you knew this story, stay with me, because the details are worse than the headlines. It started in Houston, Texas, around 1990.
I worked hard and sacrificed to get what I get. Ladies, it ain't easy being it.
A group of little girls, Beyonce Knowles, Kelly Rowland, Latavia Robertson, and LaToya Luckett, were put together by Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles. They were children. They called themselves Girls Time. They even appeared on Star Search and lost. But Matthew didn't stop. He rebuilt the group into Destiny's Child, got them signed to Columbia Records in 1997, and managed every detail of their career.
Tell me how you feel about this. Do it how I want, live how I want.
The debut album came. Then came The Writings on the Wall in 1999. Bills, 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 jumping, jumping. Say my name.
Throw your hands up and lay down like that.
They were exploding. But behind the scenes, LaTocha and LaTavia had a problem. And the problem was Matthew Knowles. They felt he wasn't paying them fairly. They felt the group was being positioned for Beyonce's solo launch, not for all four members equally. And when they asked, not demanded, asked for their own separate management just to have someone looking out for their interests, that's when everything fell apart.
Only ring your celly when I'm feeling lonely. When it's all over, please get up and leave.
According to LaTocha and LaTavia, they were never told they were being replaced. They found out the way the rest of the world did. They turned on the television and the music video for Say My Name was playing. And there were two women they'd never met, lip syncing to vocals that LaTocha and LaTavia had recorded.
The shoes on my feet, the clothes I'm wearing.
Their voices were still on the track, but their faces were gone. LaTocha later joked about it, singing Dru Hill's In My Bed. Somebody's sleeping in my bed. Somebody's taking my place. And shouting out Michelle Williams. But at the time, it was devastating. She told interviewers later, "Did it hurt? Absolutely, because we were friends. I went to school with these girls. They sued, charged breach of partnership, breach of fiduciary duty, defamation, and fraud." The lawsuit alleged Matthew Knowles tried to gain legal guardianship over LaTocha, that he refused to share financial information with them or their parents.
What you want? Shoes on my feet.
The case was settled in 2002. And then, this is the part that still stings, Destiny's Child released Survivor. And if you listen to the lyrics, you thought I wouldn't sell without you. Sold 9 million. You thought that I'd be stressed without you, but I'm chilling. LaTocha and LaTavia believed those words were aimed directly at them. And the lawsuit was amended to include that allegation. LaTocha went on to release a solo album in 2006 that debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, went platinum, she's the only other Destiny's Child member besides Beyonce to achieve that. But it took years to get there. Years of silence, years of self-doubt. She said she questioned whether she could even sing anymore. And you know what she said when she finally attended Beyonce's Renaissance tour in Houston? Time heals all wounds. It must have been God planned it that way. That's grace, but it came at a cost.
Only ring your celly when I'm feeling lonely. When it's all over, please get up and leave.
#1, The Temptations. You probably expected a 90s group at the top of this list, but this story is the reason every other story on this list exists, because what happened inside the Temptations in the 1960s set the template for every R&B group fallout that came after it. Five men from Detroit: Otis Williams, Melvin Franklin, Paul Williams, Eddie Kendricks, and The Voice, David Ruffin. And when I say the voice, I need you to understand what that means. David Ruffin is the reason My Girl sounds the way it sounds. That tenor, that ache.
When it's cold outside,
When he opened his mouth, it was like he was pulling something out of your chest that you didn't even know was in there. But David Ruffin believed he was the Temptations, and he wanted the world to know it. He started showing up late to rehearsals, missing shows entirely. And then he made the demand that changed everything. He wanted the group billed as David Ruffin and the Temptations. Now, if you've ever been part of a team at work, in a band, on a project, you know what that does. It tells everybody else that their contribution doesn't matter, that they're the background. And for Otis Williams, who founded the group, that was unacceptable. In 1968, the Temptations voted David Ruffin out, replaced him with Dennis Edwards. And Ruffin didn't go quietly. He showed up at concerts uninvited. He'd walk on stage during their sets and try to take the microphone. Imagine that. Your former lead singer, who you fired, crashing your show like he never left. But here's the thing that makes this story more than just ego. David Ruffin was battling addiction. Serious addiction. You know, the industry in the 60s didn't have the language or the infrastructure to help someone like him. There was no intervention, no rehab tour. You were either productive or you were gone. And David Ruffin was gone. He struggled for decades. He had solo moments. Walk Away from Love was a hit in 1975, but he never reached the heights again. And on June 1st, 1991, David Ruffin died from a drug overdose. He was 50 years old. Eddie Kendricks, the other original lead voice, the man who sang Just My Imagination, he left the Temptations too back in 1971 over similar frustrations with the direction of the group. He died of lung cancer in 1992. Paul Williams, who co-founded the group with Otis, struggled with depression and alcoholism and died by suicide in 1973. He was 34. 3 of the 5 original Temptations gone before they ever got old. And Otis Williams kept the group going. He's the only original member still performing under that name. Over 60 years. Different lineups, different decades. Same heartbreak. And that's the blueprint. From the Temptations to New Edition to Destiny's Child, the story keeps repeating. Talent, success, ego, money, and then the slow, quiet collapse of something beautiful.